Hey there guys, welcome back to another episode of Monster Super League. It's your boy Odin. Today we're going to be doing the Dark Apophis guide. I'm going to go ahead and basically take you guys through my team, and I'll show you guys what I am using to try to get to a moderate level of damage done every week on Mondays, which is of course the Dark Apophis. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys my team here. Not very much different than the variant Dark Apophis, but essentially I'm going to be using an attack down leader skill on the left and then a crit damage leader skill on the right. I am going to be using the light Bethany for this attempt, and I'm going to be using him with the light Cupid to essentially spam the Predator skill on the 5-star skill, which is what is going to allow me to deal a decent amount of damage. On the left hand side, of course, you guys will see that I am also using the Dark Shelly, who's going to give me a bit of defense down, as well as that Dark Predator. And then I am going to use the Dark Cura with the exposed weakness and an attack up for the Dark Shelly. And then, of course, the Bast is just there for the defense up and the weaken. The resistance down is definitely going to help a lot here with the Dark Apophis. As you get into the higher levels, he is going to start resist a lot of your attack downs, defense downs, etc. So I figured this is a good way to, or a good place to put her. But if you don't have the fire Okeanos, you can also use the Water Hana, just like how I have the Water Hana there on the backup on the second group. And so with this strategy here, what you're doing is you're essentially just using a regular Nat 3 to kind of take that first damage hit so that you're taking advantage of the crit damage leader skill. But then as soon as the Dark... I forget his name there, Colt or whatever, he dies, the Dark Venus there will be taking over its place to stack up that attack up and the attack down. And then, of course, as soon as the Water Shahara dies, who is there mainly to cleanse, the Hana will take over its place. And you guys can kind of see my lineup there with the Fire Wuchi and the Dark, or the Light, what's his name there, Baby Shark. Second group, kind of very similar strategy there. Really taking advantage of the crit damage leader skills was really going to give you the biggest amount of damage there. And then, of course, I am going to use the Hanas there as backup, so you guys can kind of take a look at that. And before I do that, let me go ahead and set my notifications to do not disturb. I am recording on my iPad, of course, so I have mentioned that before. I continuously forget to put out my notifications, but... All right, so this is the second team here layout. Same thing as the first one, like I said, just a couple different Astromons here. Once the Water Bast dies, I'm going to be using the Water Glinda there to do a little bit more damage. But essentially same setup with the attack animations, etc. The Cure is going last to leave the exposed weakness for the right-hand side. And then on the right-hand side on the second team, same thing, exposed weakness for the John Wuchi, or the Dark Midsummer Miho whenever she does die. When the Wuchi dies, I should say. For the Dark Midsummer Miho, she is lethal strike and attack up, and you don't want her to get attack up too quickly because you're already using the Venus there. So I'm putting her in the back lane instead to try and see what I could do for damage, because then at that point, you know, she'll take 2 or 3 good or lethal strikes before she gets full SP bar to waste an attack. So that's kind of like my setup here for the first and the second team. And let me go ahead and actually remove the wood Cyriel, because I did not book her here. I'm just going to drop in the Wood Midsummer Miho. Let me go ahead and save that. And let's go ahead and basically go through the attack motion here. My last couple of weeks, I haven't done too well in the Dark Apophis. Mainly, I'm still playing with some of the team compositions. Yeah, you guys can kind of see how this one is going to go. Like I said, the biggest thing for the first attack is going to be relying on Predator to go through those levels really quickly. The Light Beth is using, of course, a Siphon set. With the Siphon set, what happens is you're taking advantage of the damage that you're dealing to basically gather SP for the Beth. It is very, very reliant on crits, so if the Beth does not crit, as you guys can see, she's not going to be feeling her SP bar, which means I'm only using the 3-star skill. And unfortunately, that's not what you want. You actually want to use or spam the 3-star skill, because the 3-star skill is what's going to give you the most amount of damage because of the 135% attack power bonus versus a 50% attack bonus, which is the 3-star skill. And here we go. Let's see how much damage he does. So basically from level 12 all the way to 18, so that's almost 6 levels in one attack. But yeah, so that's kind of how you want to strategize for the Apophis on the first horde for most of the teams. There could be like a couple exceptions, like for example the wood Apophis, who you could use curse for, and I think curse is essentially the biggest damage output right now on wood, and that's because of the wood Apophis's very low resistance in comparison to the other RGBs and the light and the dark. But yeah, you guys can kind of see how I'm making this one out here work. Unfortunately, we're not really getting lucky with the hits. I keep not critting with the light Beth, which means that I need better gems. If you guys have been playing lately, you guys have already are full aware of the fact that there are just so many nat 5s and nat 4s now in the game, and the amount of gems that are available through golems is becoming a serious problem, and I'm really hoping that Monster Super League or Smart Study really addresses that soon, because you know, with the amount of Astromons that are in the game right now and the amount of energy required to get a decent amount of gems for that mon, there's too much variability. The drop rate of the recovery gems and the flat recovery gems and the non-set bonus gems from golems it's really time consuming and really driving up the amount of time that players need to make any progress. I'm sure a lot of you guys can attest to that, or feel somewhat similar to what I feel, which is it just takes too long to get the gems that you need to make any decent progress. I mean, you know, even the siphon gems, for example, they're just so many flat recovery gems on the weekends, it's not even funny. It's very difficult to get a decent set going. And that is why I'm mainly relying still on only attack crit rate. But you know, if RNG is not good and your attack crit rate is not, you know, landing crit rate like that, you know, you're not going to be making good hits. And when it comes to Apophis, you know, you only have limited amount of turns, so you really need to take advantage of every single turn. So it is a shame, and I hope, like I said, that 433 fixes that in the future. But for now, it is a continuous problem, and one that I don't see going away for, you know, at least a couple of months. Although I really hope that they do start to clean up their act, because, you know, if they're going to be releasing another game, which is Latecia, whether that's an addition to Monster Super League, so, you know, essentially as a large patch where they just merge your account and they add the extra game data files to this current existing app, or if they create a new app, then, you know, we're essentially starting from scratch. And I'm really hoping that's not the case, because, you know, otherwise what's with all the you know, collection on Monster Super League, essentially everybody would move out of Monster Super League, and only the veteran players would stay. But regardless of, you know, I'm getting too far ahead of myself. As you guys can see here, I only made it to level 40, which is not really ideal. Beth only did 1.7 million, but it is a good showcase, I feel, for what you guys could hope to accomplish with your team setups, or at least see what you guys can use to build up those attacks. Hopefully, once I get a little bit of better RNG and some better gems, I might be able to hit a little bit harder. But yeah, so let's go ahead and do the attack on number 2, and we'll see how this one works. But yeah, guys, I hope that you guys are having a good time with the Apophis guides. And these are helpful to you guys, because that's essentially the goal for this, is to make sure that, you know, that you guys are getting the best use possible out of my guides, to at least help you figure out what monsters you guys can build, and how to set up your lineups for the Apophis. You know, I understand some folks, you know, are definitely better than me, which, you know, props to you guys if you are. But I, at the very minimum, wanted to give at least like a bottom line example of what you can do in Apophis, so that other folks can kind of get better at it, because it is, you know, I guess Apophis has been out for almost a year now. I want to say close to like 7 or 8 months, but not a lot of people still do Apophis, or, you know, don't have the gems. Like I said, gem is an issue, or the monsters. You know, Astromon are definitely harder to build now with all these new Nat 5s coming out. You know, particularly, you know, building new lethal strikers, if you're still working on your Titans teams, it can definitely be a huge amount of player fatigue, because you just don't know where to focus on. So, you know, going back to that issue of the gems, you know, if we were to have or do away with the flat gems and the non-set bonuses, or at least update those old flat bonuses to something better, we could easily make it a little bit easier on the player base to make progress and, you know, come back to Monster Super League, because I do see that, you know, there are several issues that still exist within the current set of boundaries of the game right now. And even though there is so much to do and they're adding more things for us to do, like the dimensional golems coming up, the dimensional defense and all that, there's definitely too much going on to the point where if you don't have that right mon or that particular monster, you kind of lose interest because there's just so much work involved in order to make that happen. So I think what they need to do is they need to add a couple of nat 4s that are easier to build so that it gives you plenty time to pick up those nat 5s in the future. But I guess there's a lot to be said about that. But hopefully this guide here shows you guys what you can do. Like I said, you can pause the video at any point in time, take a look at how my attack setups are going, how they're laid out, and hopefully you guys can come up with something similar or something better. And if you guys do find like a better lineup or anything like that, like please do share it with me and the rest of the folks on Discord. I'll leave a link to the Discord down below, so feel free to hop in there and teach us if you have something better than what I've got right now, because there's definitely some room for improvement. Yeah, okay, so far this isn't like a terribly bad hit. Like I said, my biggest issue that I ran into was that first sword. If my first sword had been a little bit better, I probably would have gotten a little bit more out of the attack, or the second attack. But yeah, all right, so I'm probably going to let this run out to take advantage of whatever little damage these healers give me, because as you guys know, even the smallest amount of damage can definitely greatly increase your damage output for the rest of the week. So I'm just going to go ahead and let it play out as it is. I think, like I said, if I had gotten an extra 10 more levels out of the first sword, I probably would have been in a better place for my third sword. But I think this week is probably going to be somewhere in the mid 90s, or excuse me, mid 80s, I should say. So, but it is what it is. All right, so John Wuchi, of course, dealing the most amount of damage there. Decent output there, but I would have liked to see at least 3 million. All right, so moving on to the last sword. For this one here, I am using the Water Mira. You guys can definitely build her up right now. If you did the event and you ran the story, you should have had enough points to build up Water Mira. It is kind of shameful that they didn't make her the Capture Fest this year for the Halloween, but it is what it is. So they at least gave us some copies that we could use to build from out of her, I should say. So all right, let's go ahead and go with this setup here. I'm not going to change anything, and we'll see what we can do. Hopefully this team lives out a little bit longer, and we make it at least to, like I said, mid 80s. That's the goal for the week, seeing as to how my first sword was not very good. And like I said, sometimes I wait to see how much damage I can do in a week before I load up the guide. But this is essentially a staple setup that I have now, so I may as well run with it and show you guys. Because the sooner I get to put this out, the sooner some of you guys can at least build the Astromon. And then as I deal more damage each week, what I'll plan to do is upload newer videos with maybe just new personal records as far as damage goes. Or if I come up with a better team composition, I'll load that up so you guys can see that there as well. But yeah, definitely stay tuned, guys. I am going to be putting up, like I said, a little bit more guides out here for the next couple of weeks. All right, and let's see where we're going with this here. So far, my hits are not really... I think the Mira is stealing some of my exposed weakness shots. So I think maybe for next week I might take her out and put either the Dark Midsummer Miho up front. Oh no, Wuchi did take that one, so maybe it's not that bad. I thought I set it up so that Wuchi would take it first. If you guys are familiar with Titans, you know that timing is everything when it comes to exposed weakness. So, you definitely got to make sure you're landing your hits as well. But, oh man, that whole row just completely wiped. That's not good. I'm probably not going to do too much with this one. I'm going to be lucky if I make it to level 82. At this rate, at least. Unfortunately, though, my attack up, or fortunately, my attack up is still there. So at least Dark Midsummer Miho should get 1 or 2 attacks in here. So yeah, maybe level 82 or 83, unless the Hana can somehow get in and get her heal up on the next turn, or the Light Cupid, either one. I'm also not, I don't have the greatest gems right now either. Oh no, that's bad. All right, that's basically it. So it looks like this team is going to wipe out at level 82. So I guess I wasn't far off with my prediction of the level that I was going to get to. But I think that if I had gotten an extra 10 levels out of that first sword, and maybe my second team, I need to rework that a little bit. And then, of course, obviously this third team now definitely needs to rework because with the Mira there, I wasn't able to get that heal quickly. So I may just do the same setup that I did on the first row where I just throw in a random crit damage leader skill, have it die quickly, and then have two lethal strikers continue the damage there. I think that might be my better option. But yeah, so it looks like I'm maybe just barely level 82. So, oh, look at that, got really lucky, 83. But like I said, I definitely am 4 turns less here and 4 or 5 turns on the second sword as well. So there's another 8 turns that I could take advantage of in the future to deal a little bit more damage. All right, and there's my soulstone count for the Dark Zeus. So I'm very close to him as well. But yeah, that's it for this this attack here. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this little video here. Hopefully you find it useful and you guys can come up with some better team compositions than mine. With that said, guys, I'll catch you all in the next video. Take it easy, guys.